All right, now, Motolani, how you doing?
My brother, we are sitting in a different location today.
I mean,
Impromptu.
changing style.
My brother, change your style. Another style, Amapiano.
Be like that.
Nah, bro.
All right, so, I mean...
This is like DJ Vlad, bro. What the hell?
Bro.
It's fine.
All right, so there's been some controversy on social media this week.
This is a controversy, though.
I don't even know what to call it, honestly. But it involved so many players, so many powerful people in the Nigerian music industry. Yeah. And this is talking about the Amapiano music genre.
Amapiano, Afro piano, Fuji piano, piano.
But what's the origin of Amapiano?
The origin of Amapiano is South African, inherently South African. It's, you know, South Africans are very big on pop music, especially like house music. If you go back like a few years, like someone educated me like when I was like in SS2 when I was like 15. The person was South African, and the person was telling me about like bubblegum pop back in the 80s. He gave me like a book to read, and that changed my perspective. So I understood like bubblegum pop. I understand like some of the music in the townships. I understood like some of the music in the townships. I understood like Kwaito and the origins of Kwaito, for example. And you could see like the influences of house music or township. So Kwaito music was like township music and some other things. So Kwaito is like Brenda Fassie, or but later you are hearing like how started like, because there's a white audience in South Africa, and as a lot of people would try to argue that house music is of black origin, but the truth is, you can't argue that the race that propagated house music is white people. White people, and the music is also peculiar to like queer culture or LGBTQ culture. Do you understand? Like ballroom music. Do you understand? So basically, but Amapiano is, you know, there was Kwaito, there was the GQOM music, and then we used to hear a lot of house music back in the day, but a lot of those house music had a lot of Kwaito influences, right? For example, Kwazi Kwalulu Kugutana by Brucey back in the day, or maybe Heavy K and Upumi. I don't know if people remember that song. The drums were very, very Kwaito, but the music essentially was kind of house. So we had a lot of those types of music back in the day. But Amapiano is now like the product of all of those influences. So Amapiano is much slower, or slightly more mid-tempo. The house influences are still there. You can, like, for example, maybe with the melodies and the way it's going, it's like house influence. Sometimes maybe even some parts of the percussion is house, right? But then the way the guitars come in, and then some of the shakers, the way the shakers go, the way the snares go, you can hear the jazz influences there as well. And then the music in the township sometimes is how like the drums are arranged. You can hear the Kwaito influence in some of them. And sometimes then one of the identifier for Amapiano is not like the log drums. It's not exactly the most important thing, but when you hear the log drums coming, boom, 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 like that's where it comes down. Like, you know, Amapiano builds up, right? Yeah. You know how it goes, right? Yeah. And for example, maybe when you're looking at some DJs, maybe Major League DJs, for example, where they are playing, they are making the music from scratch. Like they start with the shakers, they get it on the same level, and now they are building it up, right? And then when you get to a particular level, when the song builds, you just hear boom, boom. You know that sound check, hit check is the moment right now. So, but that's what Amapiano. When you hear Amapiano, it's different. I think the argument. I tweeted something some months ago that there's literally nothing like Amapiano. Don't you think so?
Honestly,
there is no genre of music like Amapiano. I've listened to a lot of genres, and I'm blessed to be able to identify genres from each other. But my brother, there is literally nothing like Amapiano. The closest thing to Amapiano for me is like movie scores, like chamber music, right? But Amapiano is so different because it's pop music essentially, because it can get you to dance, do you know, right? Whereas chamber music gets you very emotional, hypes you up, maybe like a drug. Or Amapiano gets you like, it can make you down, it can bring you up. For example, a record like Abalele, for example, it can take you down, it can bring you up. Do you understand? Like some of those records. So it depends on what it is, but a lot of people tend to not. The problem we have here, why we are having this conversation, is that ego is there, long history of ignorance is there because a lot of people don't even understand what Amapiano is. That's the major reason why that thing became a conversation on social media that day. People, so it also gave me a perspective in the sense that I should stop getting mad at people when I say this is this or this is that. For example, when we're having a conversation about Afrofusion and Bonner fans were going crazy. You don't know genres, shut up. You don't know genres, shut up. Like if you can't know Amapiano, what's Amapiano from what is not Amapiano, then you should stop having conversations about genres.
So amidst all of this drama, I saw some very, very interesting takes.
Yeah.
But why do you think people mistake house music for Amapiano?
Ignorance, my brother. You remember we've had like more than 3 episodes about genres, right?
Yeah.
We've had more than 3 episodes. We in the last 4 months alone, we've had like 2 episodes about like genres and Afrofusion. It just shows you that, my brother, people don't know genres. People know music. People love music. But people don't know genres. They can't separate what is what from what is what. So that's why when someone like me, this is going to make me sound egotistical, and it's not my intention, trust me. But it's just that when a few people like me that can identify something from each other, you either seem like an ITK or you seem like someone who is a hater to them because they don't know the difference. And the problem is they think they assume that everybody is built like them. Do you understand? Like, They don't know that some people know genres. You don't know genres. Shut up. Shut up. You don't know anything. Like, do us all a favor and shut up. It's simple, right? Because I hear a lot of people trying to come on social media and try to tell me that, what is so, I buy Maradona. Are you mad? Bro, my brother, say something now. Like, how in the world, like, where do I begin to explain to you? Do you understand? It just means you don't know. Like, you might know good music, that's why a lot of people would I can't remember the day that someone was telling me that Burna Boy's On The Low is house. I'm like, are you? No, sorry, Bono.
Okay.
I'm like, what? And the person said it with confidence. Bro. And the problem with a lot of them, the reason why some of them frustrate me, and if you see me not replying a lot of people on social media, is because I've been burned. Like, they will start off like they're smart, and then they'll just get to a level and just say the wildest nonsense with confidence. The problem is that people don't know genres. And trust me, it's fine. That's totally fine. It's fine as long as you don't try to position it as a fact. Because you don't know. Ask questions more, man. It's the biggest problem with this conversation is that it shows that people don't know what Amapiano is. A lot of Nigerians are very ignorant about genres. That's the problem. People don't have the ears. They don't know music. Like you have to first know music before you can interpret genres. They don't know music. That's the problem.
All right. So, continuing on this ignorance of music, how do you think fans and artists have contributed to the misconception of what Amapiano is?
I think so a lot of artists are like they're like their listeners.
Yeah.
Sadly, that's why a lot of them try to recreate genres that don't exist. They try to name genres that already exist because they're egotistical enough to think they are creating something new. When you are not creating anything new, you are not that special. Like if you are making something new, we are the ones that will tell you that you're making something new. The fact that you have to tell us that you are the progeny of something means that in your heart of hearts, you don't even believe that you're making it. You understand? Like, you don't believe that you're making something new. And now, in this day and age, it is very difficult for somebody to make something that is entirely new. Like, Amapiano it was very special. It must have been very special for a lot of people to make Amapiano. Do you get? Like, you must be special for you to be able to arrive at something like that in this day and age where everything else has been made by something. And guess what? A lot of people are still even having conversations that Amapiano is house. Do you understand? It's house. So because, for example, someone will tell you that, Amapiano and Maradona are the same thing because both of them are originated from house music. So because African hip-hop is a product of African praise singing, does that make hip-hop African praise singing? Are you? Do you understand? Like, are you okay? Afrobeats has high life and jazz influences. Does it make Afrobeats jazz? I mean, Afrobeats, does it make it jazz? Like, that's the reason. The problem with a lot of artists is just be humble, my brothers and sisters. Be humble. You don't need to feel. You don't need to feel like you've created something to be special. You're already special. You're making money. If you want to create something from the scratch, then make sure that it's actually something from the scratch. Do the work. You don't stumble upon shit like that. The only reason why Fela was able to create Afrobeats is because Fela is a music scholar. Fela studied music. Fela grew up in music. And even before then, yeah, he played jazz for years. So he understands arrangements. For you to be able to do that, you must know music. A lot of you can't even play instruments. You can't even listen to anything more than rap, trap, and R&B. But you want to create genres. How? A lot of them are the reason that this stance, that they are having some very, very stupid conversations on social media. It's ridiculous at this point, man.
All right, who made the first Amapiano song in Nigeria?
The first Amapiano hit in Nigeria is of Lagos by Miyoko. That's not in question. Some people will say e-wallet. That's actually not a bad point. E-wallet, there's a chance that Of Lagos even came out before e-wallet, but Of Lagos is the first genuine hit. And even if you are talking about e-wallet, e-wallet is not a pure Amapiano song. E-wallet has Amapiano influences, don't get me wrong. For example, with the shakers and some of the other, the elements and the progression of the music is Amapiano, but the bulk and the essence of the song is very Kwaito. Like when you listen to it, it has a lot of Kwaito influences. So there is no way you can listen to e-wallet and say it's Amapiano full on. But the record that's fully Amapiano, it's Of Lagos. In style, in the way the song goes, in the shakers, the sounds. Like Of Lagos is the first Amapiano record in Nigeria. It's that simple.
Interesting take. All right, what's your take on
Of Lagos by Miyoko?
All right.
Yeah.
What's your take on the Maforisa Davido situation?
I have some context about like the history of their relationship, but I don't think I should share it on this podcast. I have some insights about what their history is. I don't know if people know this, but they worked together on Chelete and what's the other song? The one with Uhuru, The Sound.
Okay. Right,
they worked together on those songs,
yeah.
Right? So they had, and Shizzy also worked with them on one or so, on either one or both of the songs. The problem here is people. It's funny that even if they had like issues, right? Even if they had issues, number one, there was no reason for Maporisa to go and reply a Davido stan. You understand? Davido stan tweeted, after Davido made... the person must have tweeted something like, after Davido made... Could you find that tweet and read it, please?
Okay.
Maybe, let's see if you can read it.
This is what the stan tweeted.
Yeah.
Davido brought Amapiano from South Africa 2 years ago,
yeah,
and made it a successful genre in Africa and beyond.
Yeah.
Wizkid is now hopping on the same genre after Davido made it a successful genre.
Yeah.
Then Maforisa tweeted, Kapsa and Maforisa was the first to put Wizkid and Burna Boy on an Amapiano song, Sponono.
Yeah.
That was a historical moment 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Research before you tweet. Also, it was the first time Wiz and Burna jumped on a same song together.
That's
Let it sink in.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Read Davido's part and make sure you say that particular thing very, very well. Please go.
Okay. I hope I do justice to this.
Yeah.
You've never liked me. Why? I've always been good to you. Anyways, away now. Choo, 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 choo.
Away
now.
Choo, 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 choo.
Oh my goodness.
That's actually what it was. So the number one problem there was the stan was wrong. Like, stans are not exactly the smartest people. A lot of them are mindless. A lot of them don't know what they're saying half the time. To be honest, yes, maybe Maporisa did have a reason to reply the stan, but just because it was caught in between David and Wiz, right? Maporisa didn't have to. If that Maporisa didn't reply to that, it wouldn't have exploded. This wouldn't have been a conversation.
Yeah.
This wouldn't have been a conversation at all if Maporisa hadn't responded. And let's be honest, Maporisa was speaking fact, except the part where he said that was the first time Burna and Wiz have been on a song. That's the only lie there. It wasn't a lie. Bro, Maporisa, Kabza's album dropped in the middle of lockdown. Do you remember how big Kabza's album was in the middle of lockdown? him and Kestar, what's his name again? Focalistic. Like in terms of the first of the Amapiano music to break through in Nigeria, it was Kabza's album and Focalistic's album. Bro, my problem here is Maporisa didn't need to reply it. Now, you can argue, a lot of people are going to say that, oh, it's because he had a problem with Davido, possibly. Because he didn't need to reply that.
Yeah.
And then, even if you wanted to correct the person, and the way he let's even be honest, the way he corrected the stand, he didn't particularly throw a shot at Davido. Does that make sense? Like, he stayed on the fact as much as possible. Either that was him being true to the intention, or him being overwise. Or him being overwise. Shout out to Ashake. Thank you very much for borrowing me that word. So the reason, what I'm looking at here is, number one, did Davido make Amapiano big outside Africa? I'm not sure I can say that. Do you get? I'm not sure I can say that categorically. Don't get me wrong, Davido's influence, right, made for K-Star, right? The reason, one of the reasons why Amapiano is so huge is the success of K-Star. Like, we are not arguing. No, yes, it was the first one, right? In terms of like the collaboration on an Amapiano record. And let's be honest, Sponono is a banger. I don't care what anybody is saying. Sponono is one of the best Amapiano songs I've ever heard in my life. Lie or not.
That song was fire, man.
Bro, that song is fire. But the problem is the song wasn't as big in terms of hits, like continental hits. The continental hits was probably K-Star, both the original and the remix. But Davido now made the remix even bigger, right? But when you talk about the culture of Amapiano itself, it would be disrespectful to the people of South Africa to say that Davido is the reason why the genre became big. And to then say that Wizkid is now jumping upon it. Are you fucking stupid? Because of Davido. Like, why do these stands treat these things? Just for reactions? Are you guys crazy? That's irresponsible, man. You're not speaking on the facts anymore. You just treated it to attack Wiz. Someone that had been on an Amapiano song before even David. So everything that person tweeted was a lie. Essentially. But again, let's not take it away from David in the sense that the influence of the success of K-Star remix significantly impacts the adoption of Amapiano in this country. Yes, we could say that. But guess what? The remix, when did Focalistic come to pause again? It came to pause like in February last year, if I'm not wrong, right? Yeah. Like February 2021. And that was when they did the remix. And that was around the time that Amapiano really took off. It was just after that there was a weekend where we had about 12 Amapiano singles. Do you guys remember that? Fouls, Scales, everybody just dropped Amapiano that weekend, right? So that's the success of that song was influential. And we can't even lie, Nigerian artists are the biggest on the continent, right? And if a Nigerian artist jumps on a genre and it makes it big enough, there's a chance that the genre might become bigger than it is because they are more celebrated, they have more followers, global followers and all that. But it's going to be very irresponsible to then say Davido is the reason why Amapiano got big outside Africa. That's just irresponsible. Because the culture was there before Nigerians even started jumping upon it. I mean, yes, Nigerians might have contributed to the amplification, but bro, have you seen the numbers on Amapiano records? Like, and now Abalele has about 10 million streams, the audio file alone. Do you understand? The audio file of Abalele has 10 million streams. Have you seen the numbers on Big Flexer, Kostatich? 25 million video in less than... Bro, have you seen the numbers of South Africa? South Africa has better internet penetration than we do. They have better internet penetration. They have better... the tariff for streaming is better. The consumer behavior is better. South Africans are more inclined to digitalization than Nigerians are going to be in like maybe 10 or 15 years. Maybe 20 even. So the discrepancy, the only problem they have is that they don't have, I addressed it on the last episode of Facts Only. The only problem they have is that they don't have a strong diaspora audience, and because their system works, probably don't have the same hunger that we do. Because their system works is probably the reason why they don't have a strong diaspora audience like West Africa does even. Maybe. Because if their songs were having videos and they had the same grand and innovation that Nigerian artists had, maybe Amapiano would be bigger than it is right now. Because in terms of Afro beats, quote and unquote, can be anything. But Amapiano the identity is clear that it's African uniquely. If they had all this, maybe nobody will be messing with them. I think these people also need to research the success of Amapiano, the numbers on Amapiano. The numbers on Amapiano, especially on YouTube, they are stinking, bro. They are crazy. Maybe not crazy, but in terms of Africa, they are crazy. So I think people need to educate themselves first. Now, so about David, right? I don't think David should also have replied Kabza because it felt like he just went, he's the one that broke the everything. Because Kabza stayed on the fact.
Maphorisa.
Maphorisa stayed on the fact of the matter. David is the one that turned this into you never liked him. Because Maphorisa didn't attack David in that. Either he was being stealth or strategic or he was just saying his mind. He didn't attack David. And to be honest, saying that was not attacking Davido. To be honest, let's be honest. David could have unlooked that. Because that stuff Kabza stayed on the fact, except the fact where he said that was the first time David and Wiz had been on the same song. David could have overlooked this. Now, the tweet, the reply that everyone said, it felt like cruise. But to be honest, I think it was a little unnecessary. It was a little unnecessary. Because now, you are probably creating enmity and maybe made it public knowledge that you guys have a beef. It's crazy, bro.
All right, so Mehdi also lent his voice to some of this conversation.
That was the most unnecessary part of this conversation. I hate when people are trying to force themselves into conversation. It was irresponsible and funny. It also reeked of a lot of ignorance. But do you know the song that Mehdi was calling Amapiano? Bro, it's ridiculous. The fact that he's even calling that song Amapiano is, bruh. It shows that these are artists that are part of the problem. Because you don't even know genres. Bro, you didn't make Amapiano. Bro, Amapiano wasn't even existing at the time. Are you okay? Hey, bro. My guy made house with influences of Kwaito, with subtle influences of Kwaito. Bro, before we got to Amapiano, we had you know Yeah. You remember that jam?
Yeah.
That sound. We had that one before we got to Amapiano. I mean, Amapiano, some influence of that had been existing in the townships, don't get me wrong. But before it got to the mainstream, by the time it got to the mainstream, bro, come on. How were you making Amapiano in 2013 or 2014? You said think now. You don't know genres. You made house music. House, Afro house. Finish. Everybody wants to be the first. That the people get on my nerves, man. Shit.
Mr. Mehdi. All right. Does this take away from his music, though? From the music?
That's something that someone pointed out to me recently. Honestly, I believe that the only reason why this became a thing is because of two things. This is taken away from the music. It's not like fans wake up one day and take it away from the music. It's stands that take it away from the music, and the artists themselves who are so desperate to become first in this, first in that, first in that. That's all, bro. So essentially, the artists are responsible for the fact that it's taken away from the music, not the fans. Because most fans just want to listen to music. Do you get? Most fans just want to listen to music. The only reason why this became a conversation that's taken away from the music is because Maphorisa responded to his stand. And then David responded to Maphorisa. So who is the one that's responsible for taking away from the music now? Who? The artists. Because if the artists had corrected some of their stance not to keep attacking people, we might not have the situation where Kabza would even feel the need to respond to a stand. So that's where we are at. I don't even understand what we are saying anymore. But the problem is, essentially, do I think it's taken away from the music? Probably not. I think the thing that person said is all these genre classifications that are taken away from the music. Remember that genre classifications will never take away from the music. Genre classifications are necessary. And there is nothing you can do about that. The only reason why that person is saying genre classification take away from the music is, to him, it is distracting. But to people like me, it is history, and you are documenting history in the right way. If you don't document history in the right way, we might as well still be living in the jungle and 1,000 years before Christ and be killing each other over 2 pieces of meat. Because I don't understand, this is civilization. You either get with the program or go and learn, or don't try to throw the baby out of the bathwater. It's like saying, do we need to classify education? Let's just call call it education. There should be no lawyers and doctors. That's what you're